welcome to the Unofficial Controller Podcast, your weekly gaming podcast, episode 103. What gaming genre do you hate the most? With me, George, and as always, joined by, conspicuous by his absence, but we'll get into that, joined by Bobby. Top tier genre to my Gene from down the shop. Yeah, it doesn't exactly work out, but you know what it'll do? 103 intros. There's going to be a woolly one in there somewhere. Bobby, from me and everybody, welcome back.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
From goodness knows, your tour of Native American Indian sites.
Yeah, man.
How was that?
Phenomenal.
And how were you?
I'm okay. I'm doing good.
You picked a strange time to go on a tour of Neo American Indian archaeology. Who, what, why, when, why, how?
After playing Assassin's Creed 3, I always wanted to just check out some of the native spots.
I have visions now, if I may, off the back of that one mind experiment you gave me, of you barefoot, wearing nothing but a loincloth, leaping from tree to tree like some sort of gazelle mixed with a squirrel.
Yeah. 100%.
Okay.
Napping
flints? You've been napping flints?
No, failed. I failed to make a campfire, and I failed to use flint. So the guy just gave me a small lighter and said, "Don't show anybody." It's real. It's like a pinky-sized lighter.
You get Eva to smash the rocks, and then you just flick the flint, and boom, you've got a fire with the light. Yeah. Shh, don't tell anyone.
No. It's a secret.
Okay, let's give the new and old, the initiated and the uninitiated, a quick run through of how things are going to go. Coming up, Bob, we've got some news in there. Because this show has a habit for being the number one location for Yakuza news. We've got some Yakuza news. In the feature, we're going to ask that clickbaity question, what is the most hated genre? Or, as the former co-host of the show would call it, a genre. That's right. For many years, he called it a genre. After that, the real deal, the Stingray rips up the drive, and we've got to unveil to Bobby the new way we go through the boot. Okay? After that, on completion of all that shenanigans, I normally turn to my beautiful co-host and I ask him, Bobby, what are you hoping to play? But, and I'm not even mucking around here, listeners, yes. Oh, that's right. Grip tight now, hard on that book of most hated games that you wrote when you were 4.5 years old, Odders. Because I'm going to ask Bobby, what you been playing?
I finished Sniper 4. We did all the DLC. Me and my boy Marlon.
Did you?
Yes, that was pretty intense. But it was fun. Got that out of the way. I finished The Last of Us 2. I just have to go back and do some upgrades. And that game was amazing. I don't know what everyone was complaining about. And we just started Alien Nation, which was it's a House Marquee, I believe it's pronounced. The same company that made The Returnal.
Oh.
And Dead Nation.
House Mark, they call themselves.
Yeah. And what is it, Next Machina? Or Machina, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
They made those games. So we're playing that now. But it's a 4-player, top-down, multi-directional shooter.
Like Smash TV.
Yeah. But swarms of enemies, man.
Wow.
Almost to the point where it's like, bro, I need to breathe.
You know? Wow.
Like, let me check my inventory. So I'll just doing that. Pretty fun. I don't know what I'm going to start next. I think I might just start Immortal Phoenix Rising. Or the DLC for Valhalla.
Yeah. Course, yeah.
So.
Okay.
That's it for me. What about you?
Confession, last week I've been going through a bit of a weird time with gaming. I've not been at home. I've been all over the place. I've been playing PSP. I've been playing Vita. I've been playing. But in my time where I've been able to dedicate to the main systems, I have been playing Returnal. Let me tell you. I have no idea what's going on.
Turn the PS5 on. It's nice.
Oh, I've turned it on. I remembered. Well, I had to go on YouTube and look up how to turn on PS5.
Yeah, I'm sure it's not easy.
Same as turning on the PS3. You just hold down that button on the controller and you're all good. So, luckily for me, because it's similar, I was able to turn it on without too much embarrassment. But Returnal, graphically, I think she's a nice looking game. You can tell it's a small studio, but the loop of it, I actually quite enjoy. I find it quite fascinating, and the places it's like spookily interesting.
Mhm.
I've got a copy of Resident Evil 8 sat burning a hole in my back pocket, but I've thought,
Really?
yeah. We did such a mediocre job of the Resident Evil 8 preview, me and Daisy, that they refused to send me a copy, so I bought one. We give you access to the guy to ask him questions, and this is what you produced. Where's your co-host? Oh, I'm really sorry. You know, he had a moment of celebratory repose. He wanted to go on a tour of North America's Native American Indian sites. Oh, okay. I said, right, one of them, is he? That sort of character, is he? Yeah. All right. Anyway, so I've got that sat there, but I kind of want to see a bit more of Returnal. It's quite cool. If you don't get hit, it's some of the systems in it that I find quite fascinating. It is a little bit like being in a 2D bullet hell shooter, especially as you get further into it. There's a button where you can dash, where you're impervious to the bullet hell that comes to you. So if you kind of press it, but you can't press it immediately afterwards. So it like takes a full 1 second to recharge. So you're engaging the enemies, and a tip Tom gave me before I even played it was like, be aggressive. And I am always reasonably aggressive in games. And he's right. So you kind of dash to the right as these wave of bullets comes towards you. You can either like dash through them. If you're dashing, you can't be hurt by this weaponry. So you've got to sort of dash at the right time, wait. You can jump over them as well, obviously. And then you engage these baddies. They're not particularly difficult. They are a little bit bullet spongy. Some of them are worse than others. Some of them can teleport. Some of them can fly. Some of them are walking around on all fours or on 2 legs or whatever. But yeah, it's fascinating. The actual mystery of the place. And I've died a few times, don't get me wrong. And I'm starting to, although it changes every time, there are rooms which start to feel familiar. So you're kind of like, oh yeah, I'm here. Right, I need to go further. And you keep getting further and further, and you have to like think, how am I going to get up there, and how am I going to get through there? But you will and do have to come back when you unlock. I think there's a grappling hook. There must be something for traversing in water. There's got to be some other stuff. So yeah, it's clever. If anyone liked Super Metroid back in the day, and if Nintendo's listening, then I advise them to go play Returnal, because it might be a good way of making that new Metroid game that they threatened they were going to make, because it obviously Nintendo could do it with way more colors. This is muted, it's dark, it's black, it's nighttime, it's rainy. One thing that I did not mention is obviously these new games for PS5 are built with the headset in mind, so they give you the 3D audio. But even with my refined yet aged Dolby Digital surround, the surround is amazing. But do you know what roots it all and makes it even more amazing is the DualSense. The mic is working nearly all the time. When raindrops are falling, you can almost feel the individual raindrops hitting the controller as you're holding it. I put it down on the settee next to me, and I could hear it like as the rain came down. And with the surround sound and the mic in the DualSense, it really felt amazing. You could, it was really pulled you in. Awesome. Yeah, I'm excited for you to try that. Is it worth the big bucks money? I don't know. It's hard. I think it's hard to justify for me at the moment, but as I get further into it, I've always got this urge to think, I'll have a quick go, see how far I can get. It's one of those games. So maybe it wouldn't be, I always try and have one game on the go, and I've had a big break. My other confession, I've been watching an awful lot of Downton Abbey.
Cool. Just finished the whole series of The Shield. Again? Yeah, I watched it live back when it was originally released, and then even never saw it. So we just binge watched all 7 seasons. It's that bad boy.
Okay. I'm going to make a request now, if I may be. I'm going to abuse my co-host privileges. Boba Loba. No spoilers, but we need a Downton Abbey section of the Discord.
I love it.
Okay.
Also, it's his birthday.
Boba Loba's birthday.
Yes, it is.
Happy birthday, Boba Loba. If you're listening to this, we shall pay for someone to come and anoint you. I don't know what with. Holy Vaseline.
That or a broken controller?
Broken controller. Do you know, I almost forgot for a moment we were recording a podcast. I'm so happy to be in your company again.
I know, it's amazing, right?
It's all right doing a show with Tom, but do you know what? He's a felon.
Yeah.
He's a felon. He's an actual felon.
Mm-hmm.
El Buccio loves it, but I'm not so keen. But, yeah. Also, Tom has moved back to Farmerton.
Interesting.
And wants us to move back there too.
Listen, let's go.
I'm not ready for it yet.
All right, well.
I've lived there my whole life. This bohemian world that we're in right now, it's next level for me.
It might be slower for me, but, sometimes change is good.
Maybe we could kick Ponsonbury out of the estate and we could all live there like Downton Abbey.
Listen, I'm going to watch this show because it's been on my radar. And just so you know, everybody in America calls it Downtown Abbey because we don't read properly.
Downtown.
So I thought this takes place in downtown London. But I don't know if you guys use that term. But it also, in New York, people use that term wrong too. They say, oh, I'm going downtown. Okay. Are you literally going downtown or are you going uptown? Like my cousin lives in Newburgh, New York. That's north of us. He always says, when are you coming down? No. When am I going up? When are you coming down? Since I'm south of you. You understand?
This is the geography of saying whether you're coming or going.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to watch Downtown Abbey. And I'm excited for it. It's on my list, and it's actually within the 5 shows we could watch.
Yeah.
That's what we do. We have a list of shows, and then when we get to the 5ers, we see, okay, what could we want to watch now? I'm excited about it.
I think you will be. And I think this show, if it goes back to Farmerton, will be the Downton Abbey of gaming podcasts. Is that what season 3 is all about? High
is it
class,
like a mansion?
Yeah.
Oh, so we have a big room.
You'll have a wing. Much like really? We have wings here, we'll have a wing
over
each
there.
Yeah, in the Ponsonbury estate. In the big house. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you know what? Since I'm on the west wing here, why don't we I'll go on the east wing over there.
Oh, I'm glad you said that because the West Wing is off limits.
Oh, so perfect. There you go.
Anyway, everyone who turned up new wanting video game lore, news and stories was incredibly confused, not only by your Native American archaeological wants and needs, but by this show's somehow weird association with a small UK farming village. You might think, in some strange way, that's news. But it's not, Bobby. This is. We've scoured the very darkest and... what have we scoured? Because I don't know anymore. I think we've scoured the very darkest regions of the internet to bring you the latest stories. First up, I want to take this one, if I may.
Go for it, man.
Okay. Judgy pants. That's the headline I've gone for. I don't know.
I like it.
Someone left the lid off the glue in the office again. Lost Judgment, a full sequel to the excellent Yakuza spin-off Judgment, has been officially announced. It'll once again feature Detective Takayuki Yagami, who will be investigating another mysterious murder mystery. This time, however, you'll be exploring Yokohama as well as Kamurocho. Players who are familiar with Yakuza Like a Dragon will already know Yokohama is the largest city where most of that game takes place. There are all sorts of improvements in the sequel, and Sega is keen to talk about them. For starters, detective elements are more involved. Chase and tailing sequences are more detailed. New platforming sections have been added. Oh dear. There are even stealth options to consider. Then there's the action. Lost Judgment expands on the action combat of the first game by adding new moves and a whole new fighting style. Snake! The Snake stance focuses on counterattacks, which gives Yagami a fresh edge when fighting baddies. Oh, did we mention that Yagami can ride a skateboard around town in this one? Yeah, you better believe it, Bobby. But in additional news, Yakuza-based news, or Gagato Studio news. If the turn-based combat of Yakuza Like a Dragon discouraged you from checking out that particular entry, then the franchise might not be for you going forward. Creator Toshihiro Nagoshi and producer Kazuki Hosokawa have revealed in a new interview with IGN that the future installments in the Yakuza series will keep the turn-based combat systems. They said, the Yakuza series has been transformed into a turn-based RPG. On the other hand, over the year, Goto Studios has accumulated resources and know-how of making flashy and exhilarating games that are effortless to enjoy. We decided that we should let our signature action gameplay live on through Lost Judgment. So what we're basically saying here is if you're a fan of the old school Yakuza games, Judgment's got you back. The decision to adopt turn-based combat in Yakuza games originally started as an April Fool's joke, which we covered on this show, and I expressed my interest in it becoming a thing. I was hoping to keep both forms of combat, but it wasn't to be. Before it's confirmed that the introduction of new protagonist Ichiban Kasuga would also bring with him the old school style of engagements. While Yakuza Like a Dragon did go on to review very well, some fans didn't like the turn-based combat so much compared to the traditional action we've come to know and love. Bobby, probably not your kind of news, but any thoughts on that?
No.
I wish they'd kept both style of combat. So
Like turn them off.
Yeah, I like the idea of doing some turn-based stuff. I really like the idea of it being built around the character being a fan of old school Japanese RPG games, actually in the lore of the story. So he plays like Dragon's Quest and all that sort of ramble. But the fighting in Yakuza is very simple, but it was very 16-bit beat 'em up in a way, which made it very appealing just to munch through bad guys without getting too... Like, there were moments of high tension and drama where you're like, oh, crikey, I could die here. But, you know, if you're just in a street battle with some dudes, you're literally just walking through them like level 1 of Streets of Rage, and it's great. Yeah, it's a bit of a strange one, but there we go. Anyway, let's park that line under. What news you got for us, sir?
Storage at a great price. We got you gamers. It's only been a month since the Xbox Series X and S Seagate 1 TB expansion card reached its lowest price ever in the UK. And while it hasn't quite got to that level again, it's nevertheless on sale right now over at Amazon. The recommended retail price for the storage card is a whopping $219.99. But Amazon has discounted it by 13% for the time being, bringing it down to $190.52. There is no word on how long this offer is expected to last.
We know we've got some Xbox gamers that listen to the show and support the show over on Discord and all that other stuff. Let's face it, with that Games Pass the way it is, their hard drives have got to be busting at the seams. Okay, so £190.52 is the cheapest we have seen it since that sale, and it seems to be a maintainable price. So if you're on the edge, maybe a power user like Adam or Boba Loba or whatever, £190.52. I don't know. Oh, it is the S as well. So I presume the same. Yes, it does. It's the same expansion slot on the back of the S as the X. So even Mickey can get involved on that. £190.52. I mean, we know that this new storage medium isn't cheap. And that's a custom finished solution that slots nicely in the back of this little custom hole on the back of your console. Seems pretty sensible to me.
Oh, it's fine.
But $190. Whew. That's what the delete button's for.
Yeah. But that's not bad.
No. It's fair. I saw one yesterday in the flesh, and I thought to myself, that's really neat. That's really, stress. The PS5 solution is Here's a list of these. I have yet to do it, but here's a list of manufacturers that we say work as quick as the internal SSD memory on the PS5. We'll let you plug it in, but you got to open it up. You got to slide this thing in. You got to hold it down. Then you got to screw it in.
Yeah.
Right? Put it all back together. Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt. It thinks it's the PS5's SSD, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. One would imagine they're probably, to begin with, going to be more than £190.52, but we will see. Is storage an issue for you at next gen level yet?
To be honest, storage was never an issue for me.
No, I've not struggled.
Because that's just the kind of gamer I am. I don't have multiple games at once like that.
No.
So I got a couple. And then when I beat it, I delete it.
Yeah, I've got a couple of on the PS5. I'd say I've got a couple of like I haven't felt the need to delete Astrobot because I still find it quite fun to play. Even though
like to be honest, that outside extended storage, whatever it is, most of the PS4 games I have are on there, and anything new or PS5 is just on the PS5 system. So I have plenty of room still.
I'll tell you what else I had a little go on last night while I was waiting for Eternal to update. I have got the digital version of the original Spider-Man, the PS5 ray tracing upgraded version, came with my copy of Miles Morales. I'm still working through it. I'm about 20-something% of working through the game. And I thought, I'll have a quick go on that just for 10 minutes. You know, it was either Astrobot or Spider-Man. And loaded up, it was like, I've forgotten how good this is.
Yeah, it's awesome, dude.
I've forgotten how good this is. Now, my ambition is to go through and get the platinum all over again. And I think I'll do it as well. You know, every now and then you can just do 5 minutes on it. You can achieve something like, maybe the story missions might take a little bit longer, but zooming around, getting all the collectibles, doing a mission on the ground, it's still fun. A great game. Question, little off topic. Don't know how I got there, but that's how the human mind works. Bobby, did we miss anything or do you have an opinion or take on the news, dear listener? If so, Bobby, if you haven't forgotten, would you enlighten the listener as to how they could interact with us? And if they had an opinion on a piece of news I missed, and no doubt, Bobby, we slept on the gaming equivalent of Watergate. Okay, that's fine.
Yep, they can slide in the DMs over on Instagram and Twitter at Unofficial Controller Podcast, or they can send us an email at questions@unofficialcontrollerpodcast.com. And if they really want to, within that listings I just said, you could join the Discord, the link tree.
We had. Now, remember we had Mike Rouse on? He has got his own little community, and he's got a very loyal supporter there called Fat Zangief, who I've talked to a couple of times, who's now joined the Discord. So extending a very big special thank you to Fat Zangief for crossing through the veil.
Yes, thank you. Welcome, sir.
Yes, welcome. So be nice to see you in the Discord. And I think his comments were, wow, look at all these names from the show that I remember. So it's literally, it will be coming to Jesus moment. Other religious messiahs are available, of course. It's a real coming to Jesus moment. So you can come and you can meet these people that you've heard about, speaking to if you're a follower since the early days or you've gone back and done back catalogue. These guys were immortalized, and therefore you can see their pictures on the Instagram or on the Twitter, or you can find them to speak to live and in the flesh on the Discord. We've reached the heady heights, Bobby, where we're looking up at the feature like a mountaintop.
Yeah.
Do you think we can climb that? Because it looks like a pretty hate-filled mountain. Because we asked every week, we ask the listeners about a topic, and they respond on Instagram or Twitter or that's where or on the email with an answer to the question. Now, Bobby's been off, but it didn't take him long upon arriving back in our New York apartment to come up with the muse. I know, George. God damn it, George, what we're going to do? We're going to do a show about your most hated genre in gaming. I was like, I bathed in his glory. I was like, oh my God, nothing gets a response more than hate. True. Especially in this day and age. Oh my God, like, share,
it's just
retweet.
It's just the keen thing to do now.
It is. So most hated genre in gaming, we got in touch with you guys. We asked your thoughts and we've interwoven. Nay, this week, your topic comments are the feature.
Mm-hmm.
The community wrote this feature. Kicking off, Bobby, with he keeps himself to himself, but he's the nicest man. He's becoming one of the thinnest men I know.
Mm-hmm.
And he's also one of the most handsome men I know. His name's Stephen, a.k.a. you might know him around the bazaars as Road to Thinner Me. What's he got to say for himself about his most hated genre in gaming, Bobby?
He says, "Hey guys, I don't allow games to get me angry anymore, but the AI on some of the old snooker games could."
Snooker. Do you know what snooker is?
That's that weird pool game with the bolt with the things in it, the pegs in it.
No, pool is a weird snooker game. Snooker is a weird billiards game.
Right.
Okay. Snooker is
with a rubber. Right? Am I wrong?
Oh, with the chalk on the end of the cue?
No. Like, okay. Well, we went to billiards hall as kids. They always had one table with looks just like a pool table, but it had rubber pegs in it. I assume that was always.
Oh, I see. A billiards table's a lot bigger than a pool table, though.
Yes, it is. Bigger, way bigger.
Yeah.
I thought that was that.
No.
I don't know what snooker is. Now, tell me what it is.
Snooker's the one. It is like pool. You get your triangle of red balls. You've got the green, yellow, and blue, black, pink, whatever. Mm-hmm. You take a turn each. You have to hit a red. You have to pot a red to hit a colour. Then you can pot a red. Then you can pot a colour. If you miss a ball or pot the white or make a foul, it's someone else's turn. Depending on the level of severity of your miss hit, they get 2. A little bit like pool attempts to do a shot. You can place it anywhere in the top D from memory. But anyway, I interrupted yours and Stephen's comment. How very dare I?
Now we know what it is. He says at times it got me angry. Sometimes you break and it wouldn't get back on the table, depending on who you're playing. Going up against Ronnie Sullivan, big, mad, angry.
Ronnie Sullivan's like one of the legendary more rock and roll players of snooker. Snooker's got an association with rock and roll lifestyle, believe it or not. They earn big money, and in the 80s and 90s they were big drinkers. For some reason, snooker took on a zenith of all sports, maybe as other sports waned in TV, but snooker was super popular. When snooker was on TV in black and white, obviously it was hard to appreciate a game that had different coloured balls. Mm-hmm. But when snooker and colour TV got together, it was almost like the perfect marriage, and these players were idolised in the UK.
Really?
Yeah. Coming up, JA_92____ one presumes. Is this a new listener?
No, this is a young adult man.
Well, I thought a young adult man had changed his name to Sore Thumb Collector.
I don't know who that is.
I thought Sore Thumb Collector was the person that was.
I just noticed this. Tim, for sure.
This is young adult man. Okay,
100%.
Listen, for sure. I want to say FPS and also board-style strategy games. They got to go. Not the other genre, I'd say, needs to take a hike is the dancing or sing-along games.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Do you like video games, podcasts, and reminiscing? I'm actor, video game writer, and total sweetie pie Connor Savage McCabe, and on each episode of Call Me By Your Game, I sit down with a guest for an intimate look at a special game from their past. Did you and your dad beat Spyro the Dragon over the holidays? Or was Halo 4 the one thing that united your roommates during your senior year of college? Stories like these are what Call Me By Your Game is about. From video game content creator Janet Garcia to Hades voice actor Courtney Vinay's, I interview wonderful comedians and game industry friends about these memories. Check us out wherever you get your podcasts, and maybe someday you'll call me by your game.
All right. I mean, listen, I'm not a fan of sing-along games either.
What's your most hated genre, Bobby?
Turn-based RPGs. I just don't like them. I never did. I find them extremely boring. Yeah, I'm sorry. Can't do it. can't do it.
Oh, God.
Sorry.
I
Okay, George?
was choking on a rather nasty comment, Bobby. It
Hey,
took a
listen.
good swig of English tea to wash that down.
I just don't like them. I find them extremely boring. I find them, they take the fun out of the game. People just pop up out of nowhere, and then I have to.
You're describing Americans.
Yeah, I had to strategize, heal this guy. Like, why can't I just beat up this guy? Why do I have to?
We've just lost our biggest audience with my throwaway comment. I'm sorry, American cousins. I'm super sorry.
We
I'm
don't
sorry.
like them. There's very few friends I know play them, and even worse. Again, no disrespect. Japanese RPGs, they're even worse. They build up this big, huge battle. You're like, oh my God, what's going on? And then all of a sudden, everybody's waiting to beat up each other. Like, what are you waiting for?
Gotta
You
wait.
could just wait, take your time. Oh, spell, fire. Next, this guy heal. This guy defend all. And then you hit it go. It's just, I don't know, I don't like it. It's boring. That's why I didn't play Final Fantasy VII. And coming up this week on my page, Final Fantasy VII will not be reviewed because I didn't play it. Hashtag don't care. Everybody has been DMing me. Oh, I can't wait for Final Fantasy VII. Me neither, because it ain't happening.
Let's take a moment to talk about your page.
Mm-hmm.
How can they find you? Because the reason why you're co-host of this show is not only because you've got your own podcast, the insanely successful Bobby's World podcast, where you talk about your life growing up in New York and video games in general. It's one of those ones where episode comes along and it's a finely crafted production. I like it. I'm a big fan.
I take my inspiration from you. Thank you.
Jesus wept. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought I was listening to a quality show, not a held together piece of string and spit and bubble gum.
Sometimes I have notes and then I realize what I wrote down. I don't understand what I wrote down. So I just wing it. And then sometimes I have notes that I write down slow. And I'm like, okay, this is a format. I'm like, okay. George has a format, and
we have a format. We have a format. You're part of the family.
George, this is your show, bro. I'm happy to be a part of it. But without your format, we would just talk. And it'd be who knows what happened. So the format works.
Okay.
So I try to adapt. And it works when I read my handwriting.
Trust me. Anyone with more than 2 IQ can't read their own handwriting. Okay, it's a sign of intelligence. Mr. Graham C got in touch on the subject of your most hated genre in gaming, by the way, and he said any game that has collectibles, really, and especially. Did I not read the last comment?
Yeah, you did. Okay, I'll go.
Yeah, take it.
Any game that has collectibles, really, and especially the ones where you need 100% of them to get the platinum or 1,000 gaming points, really annoys me. And if they glitch out Assassin's Creed, then you are stuck. Microtransactions can get in the C2. It's like, oh, you want this skin for $179? Please buy 200 tokens. I think it's in every game. Does my head in let them be unlockables as you make progress with the game yourself. It ruins the game, in my opinion. Someone can put 1,000 hours into a game to get good, or just open your wallet to get the best guns or skins.
Thing is that, sadly, I agree with Mr. Graham C. The finding the last witchetty berry. You know, nah. I know you're into that, but I'm not.
Yeah, I mean, well, collectathons, as I call them, are probably the oldest style, I guess, of open world play. Like Spyro, it's just collect everything, right? I mean, what else can you do in the game? So nowadays, it's very annoying. Like The Last of Us 2 had a lot of collectibles. You don't even have to get them. But without them, the game is very short, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But the collectibles made it a little longer because now you're searching everything. But upon searching everything, you find them anyway. Some were really good.
Do you know?
It is annoying though. It is, especially when there's so many of them.
in my first run through, I didn't go out of my way to get collectibles in Last of Us 2. I just thought I'm just going to enjoy this for the story and try and survive as much as I can just with the natural materials I find without going nuts, going in every drawer. So have I got enough to progress? Yes. Awesome. Let's make it happen.
Well, that's what I did. I searched whatever I could search to get ammo, and I built things. And if I had too many rags or bottles, I try to make something.
Well, I'll tell you one thing I did find, and I play Last of Us 1 quite a lot, as you know. Both games seem to, depending on the difficulty level, but both games tend to leave you in the first third of the game dripping in ammo everywhere. I don't know if it's done on purpose to lull you into a false sense of humor, and then you go into the second and third act of both games and things start to get a bit more desperate. You hit a couple of bullet sponges in those games that suddenly eviscerate everything you've been saving since the first pixel appeared on screen. Especially, this always happens to me in 1. You're like, oh yeah, I'm doing really well, got all these bullets, got all this crafted stuff, I'm ready to rock and roll, and then boom, 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 poof, next thing starts, you're like, 2 bullets.
It's very Resident Evil-like.
Yes.
Oh, in the beginning, everything is fresh. Got some bullets. Keep going down the ladder, bro.
You feel tasty, don't you? You've got a knack for it. I think what happens is, as the Last of Us 2, yes, it's got gunplay, but I think the gunplay is kind of there. If you want to play it that way, fine. But I think the gunplay is to cover off the more visceral, physical takedowns, which really is what the game's about, and a bit manhuntish in a way.
Yeah, no, honestly.
Because you get the Last of Us 1 is similar, and Last of Us 2 is, again, I always find, I've likened it to a puzzle game before. You get these very small or reasonably large arenas that you can't really leave until you've cleared all the bad guys out of. And it's like, how do I navigate from this part of this arena to that part of that arena without getting seen? Do I go around the back of that cupboard and then in here and then stab and then hide and then out and then shoot that guy? And then, it's fascinating, really. And I was annoyed when it got absolutely lampooned for, not for the gameplay, but various other bits in the press. And I was thinking, are they playing the same game as me?
Well, no, they were upset because, it had strong women empowerment, I guess.
Well, as long as it doesn't, I never got pulled out of the game for strong women empowerment.
Not at all.
This is amazing.
First of all, playing as both of them, it was like 2 totally different games.
Yeah.
Abby and Ellie do not play similar at all.
They don't play similar, styles. But Abby plays like sometimes I felt like Abby was a Joel reskin. Does that make sense? Because she was able to do, in the first game, Joel had a certain style of the way he could do things. He could take clickers down with a knife. He can do this. He can do that. Yeah. Ellie can't. And in the sequel, Ellie can't. Abby can.
Yeah. Well, so Ellie was the stealth, I guess, character. Abby was the tank.
Basically, yeah. It's fun playing as Abby, though, because
I really enjoyed it.
What did you think about the scene where you're back at that football stadium?
Oh, that was awesome.
And you go around and do a day in the life almost, don't you? That was... Never have I played a game where I really felt like I was part of a TV show stroke community, as when you went round, you looked at the kids getting their lesson, you got some food, you went through, you got the ammo, you got in the vehicle, you went out for a ride, boom, things kick off, you're in this warehouse fucking sort of defending yourself. Yeah, I thought it was really good. Anyway, let's continue the assault on the comments. It's the 1/3, one spoke of the immortal undead wheel. It's Johan _trash tapes. Yeah, you might know him as Johan from Enigmatic Productions. Guest on this episode, in episode 86, I believe, where he talked about movies as video games. No, video games as movies. One way or the other, yin to yang. Anyway, Johan is one of the immortal undead ones. The others being Harvey Retro and Greg, nowhere near Berlin. Okay. Let's hear what the immortal one has to say, because this comment is brewed through 1,000 years of steeped knowledge. For me, it has to be the first-person shooter, especially online. While it's supposed to be immersive, most of the time, you're just a pair of hands, floating hands, and a gun. constantly fiddling around with the aim only to be blindsided by a sniper or enemy out of your vision. It's hard to explore and embrace the environment when you're constantly unable to see the whole picture. Plus, being that most of them are military based, it lacks any variety. Sure, there are some exceptions which are fun, like Doom, RE7, and Bulletstorm, but so many FPS are just the same old formula, and it's boring and unfair. I have to agree to him. I
can see
like all
that.
things military, but do we need another Delta Force 6000 game? Like, no, not really. Please. What about, I know you're all bored of Delta Force 6000 in the World War II. I know you're all super bored of Delta Force 6000 Future Warfighter, but guess what? Delta Force 6000 is about to go back to World War II. Like, please.
And then with a microtransaction, you get a gun from like the future.
Oh, put it in the game in the multiplayer. Oh, God. Do something new. And who is buying all this military tat?
I don't know.
Sort of people. I used to be in the forces. Really? What part of the forces were you in? Well, I was in the I was in the Army Cadets. What the? I'm really good on COD. Get out. Would you do me the immense favour of reading my son and heir now to the Ponsonbury estate, Ginger's Game Room?
Yes, that's my fellow redhead right here. Ginger's Game Room. He says so this isn't a genre. I'm going off a tangent, but microtransactions in gaming are honestly doing my head in. They need to be stopped, especially the loot box style. Any game containing these types of this type are absolute dog trash on toast with a smiling face emoji. Yep. Listen, I agree with him. If it's microtransactions to make your character look cool, fine. To make your gun look cool, whatever. But if it's just to make you better or give you an edge, and it's not fair.
Talking to James, the work experience boy, the other day, I'm starting to wonder if some of the cosmetics and things that you can do to your character in Fortnite are actually verging now, whether intentionally or not, on actually pay to win.
No, it's really not.
There's some skins that give you a little bit more X and Y and a little bit more ability to do stuff. I think it's on the... You can still win, absolutely you can, in a default skin, but some of these other skins are starting to have... I can't remember what the discussion was.
Really?
Maybe it made you quicker or ability to do X or Y just slightly faster.
Because they'll take whatever's popular and skin it for money.
Yeah.
Like John Wick.
Yeah.
What? That's not really a child's movie, but there it is on Fortnite.
That's, and then some of the other characters they've got in there, they've got the aliens.
Kratos.
Yeah. Sawthorn Collector.
We had a little beef here.
What? What's going on, brother?
Me and Sawthorn. I'll read this one. Sawthorn Collector.
Hang on.
Is he?
Well, I got confused because we had a conversation midweek where I'm sure you sent me a message saying Sawthorn Collector was young adult man.
No. Sawthorn Collector, no. I've been following him. We've been following each other for a long time. We have this little beef with each other about this exact statement.
Oh, okay. Well, I think he is, so I think we should give him, because it's only right and proper we do things the right way. He's a new listener.
He says, beat 'em ups are the worst. So repetitive and boring to me. You just kill 20 baddies that look alike. Well, here's 20 more of the same guy on the next screen with a standard face and then a sleeping face.
I don't mean to upset you, Bobby, but he has a point.
Now listen, 100%, I agree. Beat 'em ups, is it the most exciting thing? No, after a while, they're the same enemies, but they're not just thrown at you randomly. There's a reason why you start off with the generic, and then they give you a skill-based beat 'em up guy. And then as you get onto the game, now there's guys that are throwing at you, there's guys that are defensive, there's guys that are just in the way, annoying. So it is not just like this, but it is the same guy. But that could be said for any game.
Oh, completely. Yeah.
Like The Last of Us 2. How many people are going to come at me? Okay, they're dead. Next. Oh, the same people.
When you see, I don't know what, you've stirred something in me about Last of Us Part 2, to be honest, today you're talking about it. It's been a while since we covered that game. That was one of our, that is our most popular episode.
I love the game.
Yeah. And
but it's like the same thing.
Had this moment of like dread then when you were talking then about baddies coming on the screen of like one of those Jeeps pulling up and a load of dudes piling out of it with the dogs, and I'm like, oh no.
So you have the dog guys, you have the regular guys with the sniper, you have the guys with the big axe.
If you've not played Last of Us Part 2, okay, fast forward 5 minutes from now, Bobby, I'm sorry we're going to have this conversation on there, but you know at the aquarium, you know when you go through as Ellie and you kill the dog, boom, right, it's coming for me. I took it down, no issues, okay? I go in the next room, what have these sickos been doing in here? There's
you don't
everywhere.
have to.
And there's well, you don't have to kill the dog?
No.
I thought it was a cutscene.
No, you don't have to kill the dog.
I thought it was a cutscene.
Yeah. No, you don't have to.
Okay, well, anyway, in my playthrough, I killed the dog, all right? Well, it had more emotional... No, it was definitely a cutscene. It had more emotional resonance, and then you go through and everything else happens, and then you play it through as Abby, seeing it from the other point of view. So you come across your own, beloved pet that's dead. You come across what they've been trying to do to help save Lev's sister. You come across all this other stuff, and then, oh my God, and then you find, I
know. Listen, bro, it's brutal. Some of the stuff there was pretty brutal.
But playing it through the first time, you're like, yeah, boom, poof, dog down, doing this. Yeah, I'm going to get revenge. This is what I'm going to do. Bam, 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 bring him to me and I'll knock him down. And then you go through on the other side of it and you're like, who is this person that's been killing all my friends? Who is this person that's killed my dog? And it's like, it was me.
You know what the best part is, though? Who's the bad guy?
There is no bad guy in that game.
That's what's amazing about it, bro. Listen, spoilers here.
Well, we did warn them.
Just real quick, just in case. Someone killed my father, I'm coming after you, bro. Period. I mean, so who's really bad here, right? Then again, Joel did what he had to do because he felt like he didn't want that for her. I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
No, yeah, completely.
I'm not upset with him, but I'm also not upset what happened.
I particularly liked the thematic times that you were walked down that corridor in that hospital as well in those flashback scenes. I thought that was really good because I tell you in Last of Us Part 1 as well, those hospital corridors, that's some of the most challenging parts of that game. And to be walking through there again, it's like, because they had full auto clips on that level in Last of Us 1 as well. And it was like terrifying, to be honest with you.
Just phenomenal.
Okay, well, that's it. Open sesame. No, open salami. No, sir, open pepperami. It's part of being so retro gaming, sir. I agree with that changes the games all the way. Microtransactions are, however, the worst. If I need to pick a genre, I think it has anything that has you flying some sort of a plane, sir. I tried to the Crew 2, but couldn't get past the tutorial. Don't get me started on that San Andreas mission with the plane. I like the idea of Ace Combat 7, but it's hard. Maybe I need one of them Thruster Master controllers, sir. So, yeah, planes. Italian national anthem, sir. Trophy emoji, sir, because you, me, they, we all winners here, sir. Generic controller emoji, no console wars here, sir. Italian, I love everything. Yes, sir. One plane digitally from above, passing from west to northeast, sir. And then a plane next to that, sir, banked at 42 degrees, sir, making a virtual ascent, sir, from left to right, sir. There are my emojis, sir. Completed now, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, bada bing, sir. He's
You
very
might as well go again. You're gonna have to.
and another new listener after that. And then after that, oh no.
Yeah.
J.K. Rowling's turned up. Okay, Bobaloba. Bobaloba doesn't just do comments. Bobaloba does the finest gaming comments money can buy. And while I'm here, George, setting up a Downton Abbey section, no spoilers, for the Discord, and encouraging the whole community to watch the show, Downton Abbey, it's my honour, privilege. But I also produce the finest comments in gaming. Modern football, post-World Cup Italia 90, open brackets, close brackets. I cannot for the life of me cope with speech bubbles controlling so many players. I have no idea which one to look at any given moment. You see, why I don't like controlling other players is because I'm a solo kind of guy. I prepare only for myself. When I'm in life or death situations, I think only of me. That's how real winners survive. We carve our legacy on the backs of the dead we crawled on to get 1 centimetre higher in this world. That's a confession and a half I didn't expect from Bobaloba. He's actually quite vicious, isn't he?
He can be.
Carving his own story on the backs of his fallen comrades.
Mm-hmm.
They're fallen, George, because they are weak. Okay. That's okay. He's a killer.
He is.
I'm so excited to welcome another new listener to the show. Can you believe?
I know. Ready?
New listener.
It's Digital Monkery, which I always read Digital Monkey. I have to slow down. He says, FPS. I will go back hiding under my rock and find my hard hat.
For pity's sake. For pity's sake.
Mm-hmm.
Or is he saying first-person shooter?
It could be both. You know, for pity's sake, he's playing a first-person shooter. Who knows? Who knows? Listen, I'm not really a fan of them either. I do enjoy them as far as like, you know, maybe story-wise. But
I enjoy it when they're grafted onto
shooter multiplayer. That's not for me.
I really like it when they're grafted onto like BioShock, which I don't think you've played. You know,
no.
It works really well because of that. So I think lumping them all in, but that's more of an FPS RPG, if you ask me, or role-playing game because you're building your stats and your weapons and your other bits and bobs. It's not a straight shooter, but anyway, for my sins,
you know what other games I don't like, another genre I don't like.
What's that?
Well, what's yours, man?
I've been thinking about this. It's like, what game do I not play the most of? Because technically that would be my... I think although I'll play a puzzle game if it grabs me, I'm not a fan. Like, I don't have like a million versions of Candy Crush downloaded on my phone. I don't have Puzzle Quest on any console that I own. I'm not into like any of that sort of nonsense. So, you know, I don't hate them, but I don't go out my way to play them. To me, that's not video gaming. So I would say that if I had to pick a genre that I play quite a lot, that I'm kind of a little bored of, probably
George. We say it every week.
What?
Every week. What you complain about every week?
What do I complain about?
This genre. You complain about it every week.
Oh,
every time we read the new releases,
roguelikes.
There you go.
But now I'm playing Returnal, and I'm like, I quite like roguelikes now. I thought you were going to say battle royale games, but I actually see them as a subsection of a genre. They're a subsection of an FPS genre, which I'm not massively keen on, as we know. So I don't want to use this episode as another beatdown of that. I mean, there's people that enjoy them. I don't particularly. I'm sure there's a battle royale podcast.
Oh, there's a battle royale for everyone.
There is, isn't there? Although
it's just, guess what? It's okay. It's just not for you, and that's fine. That's the whole topic of the show.
I had another go on Fortnite the other day, and
honestly, though, there's a lot more to do in Fortnite than I thought.
Oh yeah, there's fishing.
I
There's
didn't know
driving
that.
around.
I watched my
there's
little
flying.
cousin play it. I'm like, are they supposed to kill people? No, I have to do this and get this item and do this. I'm like, really? All right, go for it, girl.
No, it's enlarged. James work experience boy, because Fortnite started as the Save the World section where you had time to go get a load of materials. That's where the building came from, and then fortify and build a fort, which is where fort came from to defend against hordes of enemies that would come at you, and you would work as a team to build this place. They've released that now, Save the World version, which he says is brilliant. I'd probably say he's played too much Battle Royale for to have a judgment on whether it's brilliant or not. But and by that I mean he's probably bored of Battle Royale. I'm not beating down. I always have to clarify. I don't want someone's lawyer ringing me up again. Right.
No,
see
before we go.
Oh, okay.
Here's my other one.
Yeah.
I don't like driving simulators or
No, you don't,
action
do you?
style. No, I when I was younger, I used to.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's a driving game. I'm like, I did download Wreckfest, however, because I did like Demolition Derby back in the day, but to race, so if it ain't Mario Kart, I'm out. You know, like I used to like it back in the day. Now I just, if it's a new racing game, I just don't even waste my time to look at it. It's not for me. I have more as we go down the line.
Crikey, there's a lot of genres that you don't like. He's coming up next, C. Pliskin. He's the embodiment of the Irish beef industry. He's actually, as far as I'm concerned, the embodiment of their literary prose industry. Yeah, I haven't exactly been very creative over the week break. I haven't I? I will say, though, I'm not in particularly irate mood as of late, given how most of my final college exams for the year were due at the start of the week, and I've learned a lot of harsh lessons from them in regards to time management and essays. 3, pouring with tears, crying almost unstoppably emoji. So why not take that negative energy and apply it to the genre I don't mostly like, role-playing games. Now, as someone who largely plays video games alone when I'm not using my PS5 as a YouTube player 80% of the time, it may surprise you as someone who's enjoyed PlayStation's recent first-party games like God of War 2018, Uncharted 4 and Horizon Zero Dawn to dislike a genre that's all about story, single-player and adventure. But here's the crux. For RPGs, there's too much of it. Now, again, I don't hate RPGs, Persona 4 and Rogue Galaxy. While I didn't finish the latter, Rogue Galaxy is an absolute joyous game. Both have great stories and either characters with interesting designs or beliefs. However, when I was playing 4 again for my novel plan, I mentally groaned to myself because it takes about 3 or 4 hours. Yes, it does, for the game to fully open up for the majority of what it has to offer. Since it took just under a month to finish that back in 2017, and in similar issue, Rogue, despite having a great mythology and end goal in mind, always feels like it pushes the goal past back when you think you're making progress. In short, there's taking your time with introducing characters in the world, and then there's the padding for the sake of length. Bobby does a lot of things for the sake of length. Again, I don't despise RPGs, but to quote Scott, hey all, Wozniak, they just take so damn long to beat, 60 hours just to rinse and repeat. Oh, and that includes the Elder Scrolls. I don't like that series. Come at me, internet. It's not like I have enough troubles as is. And for good measure, he's done 4 crying eternal tears of pain emojis. Interesting. What's he saying? Turn-based RPGs. You and C. Pliskin are very similar.
I don't like turn-based. I love RPGs.
That's the only thing you agree on, the turn-based. He also says he doesn't like Elder Scrolls, which I have to admit I kind of loosely agree with him.
I mean, games like that don't bother me. Get a character, go explore the world, spend 200 hours on it. As long as I can control the sword. Don't make me pick a button, bro. I can't do it.
Who's next? Oh, mate.
Here we go.
The dude.
The legend of South Carolina. King P _icon 79. He goes, those strategy games. I can't stand them, mostly because I'm not good at them. That's an honest answer from an honest man. I don't really mind strategy games. It depends. Like maybe back in the day, like those old school games where you had to like like Age of Empires, I guess.
Yeah.
I was, now I don't know. I don't have patience for them, but I wouldn't mind playing one. But I get it though; it could be tedious.
For me, I don't mind Civ Revolution. Last year, I had a deep dive on the PlayStation 3. Formerly used to play a lot of it on the 360. I don't mind that. It's gaming light. Sometimes I want it to be deeper. Sometimes I don't want it to be deeper. And it depends on the day of the week to what I want. Sometimes I want to line individual infantry soldiers up on a hill. Other times I just want to commit a card that says 6 infantry soldiers against a card that says 6 infantry soldiers and be done with it.
Yeah.
So how a game's going to measure how simmy I want my strategy to be at any given moment, I don't know. But yeah, there are some that appeal and there are some that don't. Comic Picture 79, you may know him as Adam the Artist. He resides on the Discord. He also produces fabulous pieces of artwork for all you wonderful listeners. Just get in touch or visit his Instagram page. City builders he doesn't like, he says, and tower defense games. Oh, the monotony. Sad face and a lone tear navigating his cheeks like a lone horseman navigating the mountains of North America. Love almost everything else. FPS, third-person sports, RPG, roguelike, bring it.
Yeah, I agree with that. City builders, tower defense, I'm out. It's not for me.
City builder. Does city builder qualify as something like theme park, roller coaster tycoon?
I would never buy that game.
Oh.
If they said, hey, make a game, build New York, no thank you. I don't want to even put a farm down. I can't. Now, don't get me wrong. Age of Empires had a little bit of that.
He did, yeah.
But I'm not building a city, am I? Trying to conquer yours.
Age of Empires kind of worked off the same style as Command and Conquer, which worked on a similar style to Megalomania. It's like, you need this iron to build this.
Yeah.
So drop the icon down for that. To build soldiers, you need a barracks. Drop the icon down for that. It wasn't as though you were constantly resupplying those places. It was just an element to get you that strategic unit, and how quick could that combine with that to get you a force to attack, target A, for instance.
Exactly.
So different. But who's next?
The .gaming.gram.
Now,
he's a man on the Discord.
Oh, the love and diversity is brought to the Discord is unbelievable. If you're sat on the fence, I know we've had some listeners recently that have, someone shared one of our tweets, and I messaged them and said, thank you for this. Forgive me because I can't remember the name right now, but they'll know. They're listening now and they'll know. They'll go, oh, right. Oh, that meant something to him. Yes, it did mean something to me. And then in his comment back, he said, I daren't comment on the show. And it's like, and maybe this particular topic, but I'm like, no, please do, because come join the Discord as well. Let's get you involved. Let's bring you into the family. Like I say, don't be a lonely gamer. Don't be a lonely gamer. Do you know, Bobby, we're sat in this apartment overlooking New York's fine park, and the light coming in through the window, through the dappled veil across the window, the way those specular highlights are bouncing across your forehead and striking your angular stroke muscular facial shapes back to me, I'm starting to wonder if you're not the most handsome man I've ever met in my life.
Thank you. I mean, I think I'm all right.
I need a drink. Okay.
I would have put me in the ugly category. I put me in the okay category.
You're a good man.
Thank you.
What does Gaming Graham have to say for himself?
He says, I know the answers to this question come down to a matter of opinion, but even then it kind of feels wrong to single out a specific genre. For me, there's games within genres that I really don't like, but I wouldn't necessarily write them off of a genre because of it. As always, great question. Even if it was difficult to answer for me, looking forward to hearing the show. So that's a man of mystery right there.
He's not going to get drawn into hatred, is he, the Gaming.gram? He will not be involved in that.
I am. Here's another game I hate.
What the? There's no genres left.
Card games.
Oh, I never thought of them.
Don't, especially Pokemon. I don't really care about that. Pokemon gotta go.
We need a T-shirt with like a really, really third-rate looking fake Pokemon, right? Sort of thing you'd find on a fake
an
Pokemon
unofficial controller Pokemon.
Yeah, and it's like Pokemons, and it's done in the same font but really gash looking. And then like I don't know, a
They gotta
Pikachu
go.
with 6 heads or something, and it says Pokemons.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's a Bobby Masaurus or something like that. That's an unofficial controller podcast T-shirt if ever I saw one. I'm a huge Pokemon player.
Yeah, like Magic the Gathering or stuff like that. Mm-mm. I tell you what, though, I didn't mind Gwent, but when they made Gwent its own game, I don't know what happened to it. It lost it lost it for me. I don't know.
I've played a couple of rounds of Gwent, and I feel I can only offer a very light overview of this. So if I've got it completely wrong, tell me. When you're playing Gwent in The Witcher itself, it's the finding the player. It's having collected the cards to build your deck. It's something that's of more intrinsic value to you because you've built it within the world. These cards don't just fall from the sky like confetti at a wedding, that's got to be one of my most popular sayings these days. You have to find them. You have to battle out the guys in the pubs and the dark places of the overworld and all that sort of stuff. And it builds in your mind a more of an interesting story about the players you encounter and the locations that you play the games in. Whereas when you play the standalone Gwent game, it's literally game of Gwent. Yeah, chalk it up, knock it down. Next one. Game of Gwent, chalk it up, knock it down. Next one. And it's not, if you've been out doing missions and experiences in The Witcher and then you come back with your haul or your tall tales of where you've been and what you've been doing, like, wow, that was amazing. You go back to your sort of starter area and you go in and you have a game of Gwent. It's more of a break. It's more of a release. It's not something that you seek out. I'm going to play Gwent on my phone because I love it so much. You're getting back to the pub, you're sitting down, you're saving the game, you're thinking, shall I turn off the console? No, I'll just have a quick game of Gwent and then I'll turn it off. That's how Gwent survives. As a standalone game, probably not. But within the game, very cool. Anyway, that's all I know about The Witcher, not very much. And everyone who's listening who does actually really love The Witcher is like, yeah, that George guy.
George.
I don't think he even plays games.
That was beautiful. Just so you know.
Okay, fine. Put it on the back of the box for the special edition. Gazlos Games. He just says sports.
You know what?
He's done the laugh until he cries emoji.
I agree with him. I'll tell you what I don't like. Baseball. Baseball's the most boring sports game of all time. Hockey.
You play hockey.
Our football, your football, beautiful. Baseball, I'm out. NASCAR, see ya.
Fine. That's fine. I'm okay. Don't now. Don't now. Okay? I'm okay.
Sorry. Listen, I mean, I know you love it.
No.
And I respect it.
I don't want to. Not here.
I'm not going to play with you.
What was that last sentence you just said?
I'm not going to play with you.
Oh, I thought it was a positive answer to that question.
No.
I didn't realize it was going to be, I'm not going to play with you. I thought you said, I'm going to play with you. And I was like, oh, wow.
No. I mean, if you want to play 2003 Slugfest, I'm down. You want to play the show, I'm out.
I think this person's a new listener. 1983 and me.
New listener.
I will never, you cannot, the show sponsor my underpants.
He has a raging bull emoji. He writes all of them. I hate video games and I hate genres.
Who is this guy?
Kidding.
Oh, okay.
With a little blushful smile. I have to agree with Comic Picture 79 as far as tower defense stuff. I've never been able to get into them with like a frown that down kind of face emoji. Maybe one day though, with a hand on cheek thinking emoji. I did pretty good. I did pretty good with the emojis.
Tower defense was nearly the battle royale of its time, wasn't it? But Tower defense even managed to infiltrate its way into Assassin's Creed Revelations. I don't think it was in. No, it was really a tower defense game in Revelations in Istanbul.
I mean, Shadow of War, kind of similar, had like a little bit of it in there. Not a straight up tower defense game, but I didn't mind it there. I guess if not just the actual you put a game on as tower defense,
yeah,
I'm out. But if it's a little bit of it, in there, I'm in. Up next.
Oh wow, Tinfoil Spider, a name we haven't. No.
I never heard of him.
It's a female from memory.
Never heard of her.
Long time listener to the show. We've not seen their name in the script for a long time, so it's joyous to see. If you don't follow Tinfoil Spider on Instagram, you should do, because it makes all sorts of wonderful sewing things or creations with cloth and sewing. Currently making a Land Rover and another 4x4 out of felt. I implore you to check it out, even making minute details such as the registration plate for the front and back.
Really?
And they've managed to get cloth to form sharp, hard edges of an actual Land Rover. Last time I checked, they've only got a few slots left for this year for the things they create. They've only got 3 slots left to guarantee delivery before Christmas in 2021. Tinfoil Spider is a very busy person,
but not busy to write us, and I respect that.
Got to. And they say feckin, Feckin, which is not a swear word. TBC. Hate it. Just hurry up. So the genre... No, hang on, Tinfoil Spider. So to be continued? That's the genre that you hate, or to be confirmed?
I don't know what TBC is. Should I Google it?
It's normally to be continued, to be confirmed.
Maybe they don't know yet. They're unsure.
Okay. Well, while we're here, Phileas Bro. Now, I've seen this name all over Instagram. This guy's prolific, but has he commented on the show before? I think he has. So he's not going to get a clap. How do you feel about that?
I mean, if he's been a comment before, then it's fine.
I think he has. If not, get on the Discord. Let us know. In fact, Bobaloba, when you're creating Downton Abbey, you need to create another section on the Discord saying, I had my comment read, or I'm a new listener, but I never got my claps. Okay, and if you're a new listener that joins the Discord and you never got claps, go in there and we shall right the wrongs. How's that sound? That sounds fair, Bobby, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. I like it.
These claps are actual currency where we're from, so, we don't want to spend it too crazily. Phileas Bro says, I really don't get on board with QuickTime gameplay in action games. I feel like once the strategy aspect is taken out of the hands of the player, then you're just pleasing a seemingly action-driven event by doing very little to challenge potential outcomes. I can forgive games by Quantic Dreams, however, as they do focus on alternative outcomes being the nature of the QuickTime gameplay. Compare, for example, classic God of War with Shadow of Colossus 1, God of War, makes you feel like the god for the wrong reason during boss fights, though on the on-screen action and the music is epic, you're still just timing single button taps in accordance to the on-screen prompts. But the other, Shadow of the Colossus, makes you feel like God because you did it yourself. You figured it out and you survived it, literally clinging on for life. What do you make of Phileas Bro's comments there? There's some nice bits to pull out of that. Mm-hmm. Like, yes, sometimes the simplistic elements of God of War make you feel a bit sort of devolved from the gameplay, but at the same token, making it simple also makes you feel involved in the gameplay. Mm-hmm. I guess it's one of those really sharp swords, and depends which side of it you fall down. For the cinematic, I would say for the more, like God of War 1, 2, and possibly 3, that could be leveled. I feel like God of War 2018, although there are QT sections in it, that whole game.
But they're so small.
Involved. Yeah.
That now, if you want to go like real deep, games like Dragon's Lair or Space Ace, that's all quick time.
Yeah.
And if you're not quick, you start over and do it again and again until you memorize it. It's very similar to like Guitar Hero or Rock Band.
Yeah, it's very much an arcade. I feel they lend themselves to arcade experiences. The memorization of that's very much that, that could almost...
God of War was all quick time. Yeah, I would hate it. But it was just a couple of
may I ask you a question? Because I don't know, I'm sure the listeners heard the cogs whirring in my brain. Sega, okay? Yeah. Primarily roots in the arcade. Correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of their games really feel like, even the games they independently developed that never saw arcade release, feel like they're boiled down from an arcade release gameplay. Arcade games are fun. They're built around memorization of levels that want to keep playing, therefore pull the pennies out of your pocket or make you love your console at home if that's the case. That arcade style of gaming, even in games like Crazy Taxi, which were evolved from the arcade, was still very much an arcade game. Quite shallow, play it, memorize. How to get better is to repeat playing again and again and again until you know pixel perfect where everything is and everything was, so you can finish the game. Arcade in the modern world have died off pretty much altogether.
Yeah.
Okay? No one's really producing new arcade games. Do you think Sega struggled in a world where the arcade game's popularity, because of how shallow they are, which was really linked to the early video gaming, that's all they could do. Then as games started to mature and develop and get more complex, yes, Sega had to go with Shenmue, but ultimately that didn't really work out for them. They do Yakuza now, which is an evolution of that. But for the most part, their games are an evolution of arcade games. In a world where arcade games were dying and people's tastes in gaming were broadening, was it always inevitable, despite the missteps, that Sega were going to die?
I didn't think of it like that. But now that you mention it, yeah, I agree with that. Almost all their games are like that. Even if it's a platform game, it's the same thing. But I mean, Super Mario, right? No matter how many times you play the 8th level, that same Goomba's going to be there. You got to memorize that too. But
they were more...
but it was more platformy.
Yeah.
But Sega games were very arcade-like, and they kind of cheated you.
Yes.
Because that was the point of the arcade.
Yes.
So you're doing good until you go to the boss. And the boss has 3 life bars. He hit you twice, you're dead. You got a quarter?
Sega. Interesting.
Games I also don't like?
What game?
Fishing games.
Is that a genre? Is that not
It is a genre.
sports?
Is it a sport?
Yeah, it's a sport.
I don't know if it's fishing a sport, but I guess throw fishing in there and the sport.
Well, apparently
for me,
there's only 3 sports and everything else is a game. Football's a game. Horse racing's a sport. Motor racing's a sport. I can't remember what the other one is. I think it's bullfighting. I can't remember who said this. It was, I don't know, some 18th century guy, but 19th century guy possibly. But yeah, there's only 3 sports. Everything else is a game. Fishing, I think, technically could be a sport. Everything else you're playing is a game.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just a gentleman's opinion. Finster Gamer's got in touch. What's he got to say for himself, Bobby?
If I'm honest, I wouldn't say I hate any genre or game. Obviously, there are some that I have a preference for, first-person horror games. But the beauty of gaming is that there's something for everyone.
Oh.
It's awesome that there are so many different genres on so many different platforms with such varied perspectives and play styles. I'd say flight games are ones I have the worst experience on, but that's down to my own incompetence rather than the dislike for the genre.
That's 2 people. Bada Bingster said, I think it was, that he didn't like the flying, and that's Finster Gamer as well. Interesting. The man who needs no introduction. RGT, that's his gamer tag. You might know him as Retro Gamer Thomas. He says, for me, I wouldn't say worse, but one I don't play is FPS. It can really make me motion sick, and I'm terrible at them. But I appreciate the skill of players such as our very own. And in turns, he talks to the show's community. He says, at Bobaloba, at Batmall, at Comic Pictures 79, at Finster Gamer, at Roast Space Monk. Okay? They're all pretty tasty. This is another one that's not a new listener. Who we got?
I have no idea.
This is
Rob DH iPad.
Yeah. This is Rob DH. This is his iPad talking to us. I think it's gone sentient like Skynet.
Yeah, 100%. He says, it
says because it's his iPad.
Right. It says, I think I'm going to be crucified for this, but games like The Last of Us 1 and 2, God of War series, etc. aren't my thing. What a weird smile. I'm a turn-based RPG and RTS person. Final Fantasy 7 through 10, Company of Heroes, Trails in the Sky are my Bible.
Trails in the Sky.
I don't know what RTS, what is that? Oh, real-time strategy. Yeah. No, not for me either.
Do you think you should have read that like a robot? You know, I've got voices. Do you think your voice could be Rob the H's iPad? I think I'm going to be crucified for this, but games like The Last of Us 1 and 2, God of War series, etc. aren't my thing. Nervous smile emoji. I'm a turn-based RPG and RTS person. FF7-10, Company of Heroes, Trails in the Sky are my Biblas. Smiling nervously emoji.
Listen to when you first started it,
yeah,
a little shaky. Then you really nailed it, and I loved it.
Okay.
It sounded like that terrifying toy we had as kids. It would speak to read.
Yeah. Okay.
And Satan's talking out of it. Yeah, that's what that sounded like.
I think I'm going to be crucified for this, but games like TLOU1, ampersand to GOW series, etc. aren't my thing, period. Smiling emoji, period. I'm a turn-based RPG and RTS person, period. Okay, we can work on that. I
loved it.
Okay. You need to do 2 now, and one of them's a new listener.
Yeah. Okay. We got a new...
he's
not.
No, I think Wes Art Design has been on the show.
Possibly.
Why have you not updated the tattoo on your forearm to include all the new listeners?
I'm sorry.
I'm growing a new arm just to get more tattoos on.
The list I have is I misplaced it. That's my fault.
You've misplaced your arm?
Yeah.
What the hell?
It's like it can screw it on and off.
I don't know. It felt so real.
Yeah, interesting, right?
Yeah. Well, to be fair, it felt dead. And when it gripped that part of my body, I didn't want it feeling alive.
It was cold, if you hadn't noticed. He says football manager games from the 90s.
Where's Art and Design? Yeah, I do believe he's Retro Gamer Thomas's friend. If not, message in, get in touch, join the Discord, go in the section that says, I'm a new listener, never got my claps, and we will reach out to you independently and thank you. I might even record some real life claps to send you. Next, Gene Decimal B11. They are a new listener.
He just writes, FPS. I love Call of Duty, Titanfall, Halo, Apex Legends. I'm not sure.
So which genre do you hate the most? First-person shooters.
But then he lists some.
Or maybe he says, for pity's sake, I hate these games, but I love them as well. I don't know.
We'll never know.
A lot of comments. I don't know if they've ever been on the show, so I'm feeling generous. Wonder Rob is a new
listener.
No such thing as worst, just least preferred. Enjoyment is subjective, except for The Sims. Concur.
I'm not a fan of The Sims. That's a life simulator, isn't it?
Life simulator genre.
Mm-hmm.
This is someone who's a new listener. Get ready. Get your hands out. It's
new listener.
Who we got?
Well, I read that wrong, so I'm going to read that really slow. Harmless Beast.
What did you think it was?
Harmless breast. And that's just my mind.
Tells us a lot.
The game genre I hate playing the most probably has to be rhythm-based games. I concur with that too. I have autism and find it really hard to focus on hitting certain buttons at certain times. It's really easy for me to get lost in the notes and mess up. Even rhythm sequences and non-rhythm games like ballroom dancing mini games and Slide 2, Band of Thieves are so difficult for me. I like watching other people play them, but I hate playing them myself. They're just so hard for me.
That would be, very brave of Harmless Beast to reach out and tell us that. And thank you very much for doing so, Harmless Beast. I had a sprig of an idea for a show. To us, certain parts of games just don't feel like a challenge, but to certain individuals out there, certain parts of games, either be it their perception of colour, be it some other thing that's holding them back from their understanding of the game in its standard form. And then we have now all these different accessibility options and accessibility controllers. And I'd just love to hear from someone like Harmless Beast 22.
Yeah.
How that makes their interpretation of the game. So if enough of you reach out with enough comments or like not witness statements, but testimonials of how it is, maybe we can bolt a show together around it, because I think that's a fascinating comment.
No, it's true. Because if you notice, most games now have colorblind options.
Yeah.
Because it's hard, I'm sure.
Can you imagine it? A friend of mine, I think, used the colorblind mode in Last of Us 2 to make sure they didn't leave any collectibles behind. Because they glow orange.
Which is smart.
Which is, yeah. I just kind of like it to play through and it be as real as possible. I don't mind even missing a collectible. I'm not that bothered about a trophy that I want to...
Oh, yeah, no.
When I'm in a game, I want it to be completely enveloped in me. If
it's making it harder for him because of a disability.
Oh, no, it wasn't that at all.
Different.
They were using it as a shortcut to make sure they could get all the collectibles.
Oh, no. See, that's different. Yeah. No, I thought it was, But I can see how that can be an issue.
Yeah. Here he is. Look. The father of Game Boy Matty. What's he got to say? Who is it? If they don't know.
Roast Space Monk.
Wow. Okay.
He says, can't really think of anything that I hate, but I'm quickly becoming tired of third-person open-world sandbox games. The gaming scene has become oversaturated with that genre. It gets to the point when it's almost like you played them you played them all.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
He's not wrong, but that's pretty much every game at this point in time, isn't it?
In a world governed by spreadsheets, if the spreadsheet says it's safe and the most profitable return to market and profitability would be to create a third-person open-world sandbox game, what are you going to create? What are your shareholders going to let you create? That's the problem. We live in a world that's risk-averse. Like, who's going to, no, I can't afford...
Well, wouldn't you say that's one of the most popular, as far as commercially popular, money-wise?
Yeah.
That and FPS.
Yeah, for sure. That's why they keep getting made. That's why people keep buying them. If there's only fish and chips and beans on toast on the menu, you're not going to ask for a steak, are you?
No, you're not.
So, needs to be more things on the menu. Last but certainly not least, it's the 16 Brick. He got in touch to say, it might be a bit late with my comment. No, I just managed to sneak you in time. But I have to say simulators, job simulators in particular. Who wants to come home from a real paying job to simulate a job in game? More than likely pays more in real life than the actual job you do in the real world.
I agree with that. Yeah, for me, I'm farming simulator, job simulator, surgeon simulator, truck driving simulator.
Stop it! You've choked me out 3 times this episode.
I'm sure I have more. Can't think of them.
Don't ruin any more simulators for me. Car mechanic simulator, dead to you.
Out.
Okay.
But I get people like them. I get it. Obviously, they're making them, right?
Well, yeah.
Listen, this is not. Everyone's gonna have a list.
The weird thing about the simulator jobs is I don't think they actually accurately simulate the actual job.
Of course they don't.
Even
because they can't. It's a game.
No. It's similar, but it's definitely a gamified version of what you would normally do in farming.
100%.
And it removes the most dullest aspects of it as well. You know, the bits that are super boring, it takes them away. Like the game is still boring, don't get me wrong, but it takes the most boring elements away.
But
So
this list, really, everyone's gonna have a different thing on their list. That's what I love about lists.
I think we
I love
chalked up,
them.
I think we chalked up a few in similar genres, like Flight had a couple of votes, and FPS's had a couple of votes, and RTS's and things had a couple of votes.
Tower defense,
defense, and turn-based games had a couple of votes. And I think we've managed to single-handedly rule in a few noticeable suspects, but there wasn't one on there that was particularly egregious to everybody. Like you do half expect everyone to say it's X, it's X, it's X. I agree, mate. It's X, it's X, it's X. But there wasn't any overall winner there, which obviously suggests that there's a genre for everybody.
And I'm surprised nobody mentioned horror games. A lot of people don't even bother to play them.
And
they
again,
don't like being scared. So I was surprised no one mentioned those.
I'm not saying they're FPSs by a long chalk, but that market is also very saturated.
It is. Those are the top two, probably. Open world and FPS.
An open world FPS horror game.
I mean, they have them. Dead Island isn't Dead Island.
Oh, yeah. I was mucking about, but you're absolutely right.
Yeah, they have them.
Last week, we... is that your final word on genres?
Yeah. I mean, everyone has their own, like everything, right? Like everyone says it's not a game for everyone. Well, there's not a genre for everyone either. I mean, it's what you like. It's your preference.
You're so wise.
That's why I like.
You're like an
top
American.
tens.
You're like an American Yoda,
bro. No way.
What? He's not handsome enough?
No, he's handsome. I don't think I'm as wise as him.
Oh, you don't realize you're wise.
I just I like people's lists of anything. Like, oh, what's your favorite movies? I love it because your movies are not my movies, and now we can talk about it, and it's a discussion.
You're right.
Like,
by the way, last week a felon stood in for you. I had no choice. Okay, and before that, an intern had to step in. You put Nancy on the fast road to stardom. But last week, while you were concluding your visit of North American, Native American Indian sites, we came up with a new way of doing it. Okay, so one person reads out the blurb, and then the other person has to give it a score out of 5 based on whether they think the blurb is going to make it a good game or a bad game, and then has to come up with a one-up summary of the game that could go on the back of the box. So, for example, The Colonists, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, May the 4th. Build a new home for your team of robots as they begin a new life for themselves on a distant planet where you can fulfill their ultimate dream to be human. 3 out of 5. Intergalactic colonization never felt so average.
I like it.
It's time for a peek in what we affectionately call Stingray's boot is tearing up the drive as we speak. What's nestled between some counterfeit nappies and a dodgy copy of Battlefriend all this week. These are the new release highlights for the week, May 3rd to May 9th, 2021. Listeners, these are out in digital or physical, or will be by the time this podcast is in your feed, but could be region dependent. Now, Bobby, in the new way we do the boot, do you want to be the reader or the reviewer? And we will swap week in, week out.
Okay, I'll be the reviewer.
You want to be the reviewer. Okay. First game out the boot. The Colonists, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, May 4th. Build a new home for your team of robots as they begin a new life for themselves on a distant planet where they can fulfill their ultimate dream, to be human.
I would say what you said. 3 out of 5.
And what's your tagline? What's your tagline?
Yeah, intergalactic, whatever you said. Could be, I liked it. I really did.
This next one, there's quite a few games this week that are on the verge of being my mummy. This one got close. Dark Nights with Poe and Munro, PS4 and Xbox One, May 4th. Guide local radio hosts Poe and Munro through 6 TV-like episodes of supernatural strangeness and sizzling on-screen chemistry. From the creators of The Infectious Madness of Dr. Decker and The Shape-Shifting Detective.
I would say 3 out of 5. And I would say, why not make a game based on the Unofficial Controller podcast host, just like this?
Dark Knights with George and Bobby.
Why not?
You need a strat line for this. It's
Well, this would
something like
be okay. Great TV personalities. I don't know.
what about this? Schlocky X-Files game serial. Disappointingly average. Dragon's Quest Builders 2, Xbox One, May 4th. Dragon Quest Builders 2 is a block building RPG set in a fantasy land threatened by an evil cult. Explore, battle, and harvest the charming single-player campaign, or build big projects in the online sandbox mode for up to 4 players.
I would say 2 out of 5, and I would say, trying to be Minecraft.
Dragon Quest Builders 2, 3 out of 5. Block build your fantasies in another game.
Bro, you're good at this.
Tom was amazing, to be honest with you. You should go back and listen. Demio, this is actually my mummy. Demio PC VR May 6th. RPG fans, it's time to unite in virtual reality. Do you have the mettle to survive a monster-infested dungeon crawler that immerses players in the classic fantasy RPG genre like never before? Time to find out. Download Demio now. So basically, you put your VR headset on and you play a version of a Warhammer, the tabletop battle games, but you don't need the army, you don't need the dice. It's all provided in virtual reality and it looks great. That's my mummy, if you don't mind me saying. I'm going to give it 4 out of 5, and we're going to say time to melt down your lead figures, reimburse yourself with some cash, play Demio. No one knows how geeky you're being behind the mask of a VR headset.
Man, you're a legend, bro.
High risers. Okay, well, why don't you do the rest, the blurb, and I shall do the bish bash bash. I shall rate and review.
We got High Rise for PC May 6th, an urban survival RPG, crafting, exploring, and defending in a desolate metropolis haunted by the mysterious dreamers. Lead a team of 4 survivors through this urban desert of skyscrapers and high rises, where the streets are crowded with the mutated victims of a strange disease.
2 out of 5. Aspirations wish to reach the lofty heights of the skyscrapers it talks of in the game, but unfortunately doesn't get much higher than a 4-story building.
Wow. Bro, amazing. This is my mummy.
Okay.
So Metro Exodus PC Enhanced Edition for PC, May 6th. Flee the scattered ruins of Moscow Metro and embark on an epic continent-spanning journey across the post-apocalyptic Russian wilderness. Explore vast nonlinear levels, lose yourself in an immersive sandbox survival experience, and follow a thrilling storyline that spans an entire year in the greatest Metro adventure yet.
4 out of 5. Emerging from the darkness into the light, much like your character as you leave the subway, this game will enhance and change your life in every way.
My God, this is amazing. We got Blazing Beaks, PS4, Xbox One, May 7th.
Stingray! We got another roguelite!
Roguelite, where too much greediness can be fatal. A color world with armed birds blazing their way through piles of mutants, monsters, and creepy creatures. Lots of mysteries to unravel, secrets to discover, and levels to explore.
Blazing Beaks, 2 out of 10. Modern wing flapping take on a left to right scrolled shooter. Ends up being that annoying stain on the freshly washed car.
Ooh. Wow, look at this guy.
Look at this dude.
The Invisible Hand.
Okay.
PC May 7th. Want to get rich quick? Welcome to Furious, where you'll be empowered to pursue wealth and success as a mid-level stockbroker. That's the last thing I thought about, honestly, reading this. Your wildest dreams of wealth can come true at the cost of everything else. I was thinking, no, I can't say that on air.
The Invisible Hand, 1 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
Best way to get rich playing this game? Don't spend the money in the first place.
Beautiful. Finally, we have Resident 8 Village for PC, PS5, Xbox Series S, PS4, Xbox One, and, of course, the greatest system of all time, Stadia.
Stingray, go collect us another one of those Google Stadia payouts for sponsoring the Google Stadia since it was released, and it's the best and only way to play the latest games in 4K.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Perfect. Well done, Stingray. Write that down.
Comes out May 7th. Experience survival horror like never before in the 8th major installment of the Resident Evil franchise. Resident Evil Village, with detailed graphics, intense first-person action, and masterful storytelling. The terror has never felt more realistic.
Resident Evil 8 Village, 4 out of 5.
Mm-hmm.
Reaching for the stars in its 8th installment, much like its titular Lady Demetrescu, this game reaches lofty heights, the kind of like have never been reached by the series to this point. Fabulous installment.
Man, that is... Bro, you're amazing.
You go back and listen to Tom's. I am his understudy at best.
Oh my God, this is great. This is really, really, really good.
Okay, well... With that, before the boot slams shut, you've picked a mummy, I've picked a mummy. The only thing we've got left to do is spend our remaining pocket money on a VHS from this strange denim-clad blonde man's boot.
Mm-hmm.
What, pray tell, are you taking? And I look at him, hands clasped, almost in prayer, as I mouth to him, Downton Abbey, tell me you've got Series 3 in the boot, Ray. Tell us, Stingers. Please, Stingers, Sir Stingers. He's handed me a copy of Downton Abbey Series 3. I am in joyous rapture. What are you taking home, friend?
Oh, you're picking the DVD series set.
Yeah.
Then you know what? I'm going to pick the complete set of The Shield.
Okay.
And I'll tell you what. If you have Hulu, at least over here in America, I'm not sure in Europe.
They haven't legalized Hulu here.
You don't have Hulu?
I don't know. I just did.
Oh, I'm about to say that was crazy. If they did, I don't know. But if you guys have Hulu, I don't know if it's unlocked for your region. But The Shield, highly recommend it.
Okay, that might be. I think it's on Amazon, so I might check that out after. With that said, the boot slammed. I look around, and he's gone. Okay. He just disappears. That's how he works. That's the Ray. Okay, but we're clutching our goodies that we picked out. Those that paid attention at the top of the show know that a young man at the beginning of the show was asked to clutch tight hard on some sort of book. I forget what it was. It's quite a while ago now. But you're all waiting for me to say, Bobby, what are you hoping? What are you hoping to play, kind sir?
We'll finish Last of Us 2 for sure, just to get the platinum out of the way. And then probably Alien Nation, with Marlon. What am I going to play by myself? To be honest, I have no idea. I have a few games that I have bought before, but for some reason, Wreckfest seems to be like something that's different.
No.
No?
Please, listen to me.
Okay.
For once in your life,
okay.
Take some direction, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You owe it to yourself to play the greatest game that you never knew you had, Man-Eater on PS5. It is your game. It is the perfect Bobby game. It was designed for you by people who love you, okay? What does Bobby like? Bobby likes open world games, does he? Bobby likes collecting things, does he? Bobby likes outrageous stories. Bobby liked Mad Max. Did he? Oh, what about if we made a shark game? Oh, well, I don't imagine he'd play it. Yeah, but if he did, it'd be the best game he's ever played. You're right. We'll make that game. Maneater, 5 out of 5, munching its way through the back catalogues of every single gamer out there and finding its way in their top 10 list of games. Maneater, the apex predator of the console gaming world.
Hilarious. I mean, listen, it's there, right? It's downloaded. Well, it's not downloaded, but it's in a library.
It's in the library.
So I thought about it. I thought enough about it to add it. It did look interesting. But I feel like, I don't know. It's possible. I guess we'll find out next week. It's a mystery. Yeah. What about you? What are you going to play?
More Returnal. I kind of feel like I need to scratch that itch. I need to know more. I need to find out more. I need to understand more. You know, it's one of those games. It might just be me. I'm a dum-dum. I've not looked in any magazines. I've not looked at any guides. A lot of the time, the games, they really spell out to you. You need to collect this. You need to do this. You need to do that to proceed. You need to do that to proceed. Don't do this, don't do that, and don't do the other. Returnal, information given to you as the player, nothing. Mm-hmm. Things you can find in the world, plentiful. Do you know what to do with them? Not a clue.
It was very similar to, like, I guess, like, you know, you don't want to keep saying it over and over, but like a Souls-like.
Yeah, but I felt like Souls always gave me a little bit more of a hint of a direction to go. Mm-hmm. It gave me a hint of something. You know, if you wanted to go with the Souls, if you go in the inventory, it's going to be like, it's going to tell you everything.
Okay.
With this, I don't feel like how can I extract that information out of the inventory? Like I have no idea. And to me, that's part of the intrigue. It's like when I first started playing No Man's Sky offline to myself, or Minecraft without doing the research into the build guides and how to make this and how to make that. It's almost got this sort of otherworldliness about it because you know so little about it. That actually make it quite interesting. If I get that done and dusted, I don't know, I've got some games. I've been collecting an outrageous amount of UMD movies.
Really?
Yeah, series, movies. It picked up a bundle the other day, 5 films, including Die Hard, mint condition, sealed. UMD movies. I didn't know they were that when I bid on them, and they turned up and I was like, they're all sealed? Unbelievable.
Really?
These have never been played. They've never been opened. There must be a warehouse full of these UMD movies.
Oh, I hope we don't open them next to Elliot.
Maybe he should pay me money to like FaceTime him a movie of me opening one of these. Or I should just send in the video because I don't necessarily want to see what he's doing in return. On that note, one would imagine that's probably the right time to call a line under the show. We've picked everything. We've spoken about everything. I look at my list. It's got ticks against it. So I'm not even going to miss the what you've been playing this time, which is normally my special move. Bobby, have you got any more to impart to our dear listeners?
No, that's it.
Well, would you say that's all we've got time for?
Yeah, till next week.
Well, that's all we have time for this week. Listeners, as always, thank you for your time. We'll look forward to the pleasure of speaking to you again next week. Until then, happy gaming. And remember, there's nothing wrong with being given the unofficial controller. It's what you do with it that counts. See you, Bobby.
Peace out, George.
Unofficial Controller Podcast is now the property of Zudamax Media. Don't forget to like, share, and leave a review wherever you found this show. Zudamax Media is the world's largest streaming service straight out of Mexico.